Okay, welcome back everybody. So what we have just done in the previous video is we exported the character's base mesh out. So that base mesh, again, is a parent object that's going to house animation. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to export all our animations out individually. So let's go ahead and select this bone and take him out of figure mode. We're going to select the whole character, and we want to make sure that we're going from 0 to the proper frame range. So it's been a couple days since I opened this up, so let's hit play and find out if it actually loops. And it does. He's kind of moving a little fast. We can slow him down for posterity's sake. So let's go ahead and hit the time configuration button. This is an optional part. You don't have to do this, okay? I'm just going to add another second worth of time. So 30 frames plus 90 puts us at 120. All right. Now, for those of you who have missed the previous lesson on how to slow animation or speed it up, what you can do is I would recommend right-clicking and go to Configure and put on Show Selection Range. That's the first thing that you want to do. And when you do that, when you select all the keyframes, you'll get this cool bar down here. It's got a white dot on the bottom and the white dot at the end. And what you can do is you can compress it and make them go faster, okay? Or you can go the other way and make it go slower, which is what we're going to do. So now he'll kind of idle a little bit easier. All right, and then there we go. That's all we want. So now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to do File, Export, and currently you'll notice it's K, CHM, Base Mesh. We're going to erase the S and we're going to put a K in front of it. K, CHM, base mesh 00_00. K means kinematics or kinetic. It has motion stored in it. Okay, so we're going to hit save, and we're going to go to our advanced options just to review. We'll only do this one more time, and then in the next video, in the videos following, we're not going to go through these settings. Okay, so FBX file format's good. I don't care about your UI settings. Yes, we want Y up. We're going to change it from automatic to the designated scale. Okay, we're going to do embed media. We don't want it. What about lights? Nope. Cameras? Nope. Animation? This time we do. We'll check geometry and then we'll check on smoothing groups. We don't need a turbo smooth. So let's go over these little animation options. Do we need cat characters? Well, we're not using cat, so we don't have to worry about that. Point cache files. This is if you're storing animation or going to create a file to store animation. We don't need this. Curve filters, we're not using any filters. What about deformations? Now deformations have to deal with the, remember when you create a rig or a bone structure, it's called a rig, and then you have your mesh, you need a modifier to bridge the two between the mesh and the rig. It's called a skin. So we need to make sure that this is checked. And so we don't need morphs, but eventually you might use it, so just leave it checked. We're not going to bake any animation. This is specifically for cat, all right, or custom rigs. And extra options, use scene name, remove single key. Okay, I usually leave those off. And that's it for those settings. So we're going to hit OK. It's going to throw me an error probably, because it usually does. And by the way, it does take a second, so let it cook or bake, whatever you want to call it. And now it's going to say, yeah, you got some warnings, but it doesn't matter. And we're done. And that's the idle. Oh, actually, we probably should have named it as such, right? So if I do export, this is SKCHM base mesh idle. Oops, we're not renaming the skeletal mesh. We're renaming the kinetic mesh idle, IDLE _. And that right there, all I did was rename the file, but I can just save over top of it. It doesn't matter. And I'll show you the real-time process. So all I do is come in here and do that, make sure animation's on, do this, and hit OK. Notice he popped out of his rig. Don't let that freak you out, okay? It's all right. Sometimes Max does that, but that's it. You're done. And you saw the breakdown of the FBX, then you saw it in real time. Okay, so when we come back, we'll go ahead and export the next animation out.